there's something called the first payment default. That's a big penalty for any broker or a lender if a loan has been closed and that first payment has not been made.
Right.
So, and those are things you don't know if you're not an industry insider.
Sure.
People just well, and we had that conversation with somebody who had decided on their own that they weren't going to make their first payment. So when we were calling, our clients just to say, hey, everything good? Do you want to know anything? Any way we can help? And it just happened to be that conversation where they said, oh yeah, we're not making our first payment. And I'm like, yeah, not really.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So yeah. So and that is the biggest challenge too, Joe. People they make up decisions not being thorough with their diligence.
Sure.
And I think that's the key at this point in time. So we want to take this time and just tell them, like, ask questions. It's okay. Like call your LO, call your mortgage professional you trust, call anybody, call us. And we'll be happy even if we've never worked, even if we may never work together. But you know what? At this point in time, it's about safeguarding interest for everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that when you say like people make some of these decisions, because I think a lot of times they just got into their new home. They know that they're going to stay there and they're not going to foreclose. So they might think, well, I'll skip my first and then I'll make, a partial and I'll catch it all up. But, they're thinking it doesn't matter because I'm not going anywhere for a while. And that's a short-sighted, view. And I get it, but I would highly encourage to never be so short-sighted, because I always think back to my own childhood where my parents bought their first home in Detroit. They bought it on land contract because they knew they weren't ever going to get to the balloon payment. Well, then the balloon payment came, so they got a mortgage. But that was okay because they knew they were going to move. And I moved out of that house before they did. And so because of life things happen with injuries and sicknesses and things like that.
Yeah.
And those things eventually led to other, things, financial, burdens and such. And so not only did I move out before them, I moved out years before them from what was going to be their first home. And when I help somebody find a house, I always, say, is this a house that you really could see yourself in for a long time? Because I know that you think that this is a first home, a step up, a step down, whatever. But what if it is your only home? You always have to make a concession, right? Even if you were building a new home, unless you're a multi-millionaire with uncapped income, you're always going to have a concession. And so when you make that concession, is that something that you're doing because you really didn't need it in the first place, or because you don't care now because you think you're going to get it later? If that's the case, maybe we keep looking. These are always unique scenarios, but and so I would certainly say on the mortgage side, these things sometimes stick with you for years. Again, I know they change. We've talked about that, but I can recall again when I was doing the mortgages back in '06, mortgage late was worse than a bankruptcy at the time, and it's probably like that now.
Yes.
And so that was a big deal. And again, if you truly are in that scenario and you've already called and talked to, professionals and they've advised, okay, this is the best thing for you to do, that's one thing. But before making such a decision, and maybe you don't really understand what the ramifications might be, reach out, because that's what we're here for, right?
Absolutely. That's so well said. And that was going to be my next point too.